All right, guys. Hi, and welcome back again to another episode of Words with App. Okay, so I got a comment from the last video that was very genuine, and my younger brother out there he asked, how can I explain this? Which I haven't explained it. How did I find all these findings? Now, so just let me explain. For over a year now, I have been working on language development itself, which truly is speech. Speech, yes, but sound. It's a development of sound, and because language is simply just sound, so we have a formalized sound in a way that we have created this codified system that now is our language or our languages. Okay. So in order for me to understand the development of language itself, we actually have to understand the development of the use of sound. We need to understand the use of sound and how that has grown accordingly to our own development. That is our cognitive, how we understand, discern something, how we disseminate, and how we perceive something in relationship to ourselves or to others or to earth, nature. Okay? Yeah? Okay, good. Good, you're with me. So I will now present my theory that I have tested. So I propose this theory. I used a year to formalize it properly, and then I have put it into a test, testing in terms of these language models that exist. It has revealed to me very many more things than I could ever imagine. That's how strong this theory of mine is. Okay. So without further ado, let's just begin with it, right? Let's just explain it. So my theory goes from vowels to templates, a four-stage model of development of human speech structure. So remember now that I am looking at mankind, all of mankind, as a whole, okay? As one big group occupying this massive earth that we all live on. So we are the same species. We're mankind, right? We were other forms before, naturally, but now we are this kind. Yes. But sound, as we see in nature, has been used for a very, very long time. Yeah, so it is inherited. We inherited a set of sounds, or how sound is understood. Okay. Yes. Now let me explain. Let's begin. So just remember that I've published everything on my profile on ResearchGate, so you can go in there and look at it yourself. But as I went along and then tested my hypothesis and put it into practice in these language models, which really is a perfect place to test it, because, well, it's a language model, so that it should be able to reveal or reject me straight away, right? So that if my hypothesis or my theory was incorrect, then I would have just easily been rejected, because, well, it would have been erroneous. It's that simple. But that is not the case. That is not the case, or so it seems. So now let me begin. So this paper proposes a four-stage model for the development of human speech, grounded in phonetics, morphology, and grammatical organization rather than in reconstructed proto-languages. The model argues that human speech did not originate as a fully lexical or word-based system, but progressed through a sequence, I'm going to use the mouse here, through a sequence of irreversible structural phases. 1. Vowel-based vocal communication. 2. Single consonant root operators. So, yes, okay, I will explain them. Okay, yeah. Let me just finish the sentence and then I will explain them. 3. Concatenative word formation. And 4. Triliteral templatic root systems. Okay. So, let me explain this first one. This first one, this is our first stage. Our first stage of development was very simple. It was simply vowels. Vowels, okay? So our first words were vowels. Ah, ah, as understanding. Oh, as something dangerous. Ah, as a baby crying, needing attention. And ah, or e. Uh, so very many vowels here. Very many vowels would indicate something very fast for us. And we inherited this from the animal kingdom because the animals have it too. When they're scared or they jump, ah. When they're comfortable, they relax and get, well, they just melt and just relax, become so cuddly. Um, where when they're scared or when they're hungry, they nag, wah wah, and well, yeah, and all these other sounds that they make, that we also make, because we are what? Nature. We are nature. We are not anything else but nature. Truly, we are just the most complex form of nature. But that does not mean that we did not originate from the same place. So that um, this was our language development, and it will be proved. I will demonstrate it. And this is not to reject any known knowledge out there, because it is out there. All of that is very good. But I have gone a step before all of that, meaning that nobody has really gotten here. And because my theory has now been, well, shown to be scientifically robust, I have now had to actually reference my own work when I discovered all these other formations or new words that would emerge from these root sounds. Okay, so the first words were vowels. A, E, I, U. A, E, I, U. Simple. Very simple. It was just 4 sounds pretty much. But from these sounds, we will get quite a lot, okay? These are essential for all the new words that will later come, naturally. Yes, and then we have this second stage where we now finally see consonants being used. Consonants are coming in to signify to something in existence that needed further clarification, so to say, so that the vowels were not enough, because the vowels were very general and they pertain to our immediate state, right? So that hungry, or I need water. Oh, or if I was angry, or so all of these, all these vowels refer to our immediate states. Yes, yes, they do. Yeah, and then they will later become the consonants. That is when we will learn the body and earth and things that move. And we would learn very many things later, and we would add consonants onto them so that we would distinguish that from now what was only the immediate state inside of us. Now our attention would kind of rise from within and start going out and see more of what this world and this earth is and what this existence is. This existence that we all are part of. Yes. Okay. And this single root consonantal root operators is in fact the proto-Afroasiatic language system, the old one, old. But this would then later be developed into the concatenative word formation that we would begin seeing in the Indo-European languages, i.e., well, we will the Greek and Latin. Greek and Latin ones are, in fact, when concatenation begins. Concatenation did not exist prior to the Greek and Latin era. These were instrumental in developing the known languages that we know today. So I will get there soon, okay? Just bear with me. And then we have the last one, the triliteral templatic root system. That is now the Semitic, the modern Semitic. Okay, that is a later invention. That continued from the single. So the single consonant root operator became the triliteral, whilst another group of the single consonant root operator became concatenative. Okay, so these two, so this people here, or this stage, this number two, split, and one became concatenative, and one became the triliteral root templatic. Yes, sorry. Now I just have to remember everything. Okay. So these stages correspond not to named languages, but to modes of linguistic organization that emerge as human cognition, social complexity, and articulatory control increased. Yes, so we have to learn speech first, and then we have to kind of master it. And that is where now, well, that is where we will link the Zaza, the Sasa, say, the say word for sound, well, yes, and noise and speech. Okay, but that is, I will get there later. Let's just take one step out of the time because there's so much information. Yeah. So yes, but to modes of linguistic organization that emerge as human cognition, social complexity, and articulatory control increased. Indeed, this had to increase. Greek and Latin are interpreted not as origins, but as late civilizational crystallizations of the concatenative stage. This is very, very, very important because we have based our whole proto-Indo-European reconstructed theory on this stage, which is very late in our development. So, meaning that we have our proto-constructed words come from this time when we, in fact, were this people before we became these people. Yes, before we began using our languages differently and organizing sound and coding sound differently. Yes. So, the Afroasiatic templatic systems represent an alternative resolution of the same ancestral root material. The model accounts for the differential survival of ancient phonetic roots across language families and explain why certain existential and grammatical operators predate both Indo-European and Semitic systems while remaining invisible to traditional reconstruction methods. Sorry, I almost had a big meal just some minutes ago. Yeah. Okay. The study of language origins has been constrained by the assumption that languages begin as a fully formed lexical systems. Yes, which is wrong. It didn't. Languages did not begin as fully formed lexical systems because that wouldn't make sense. It wasn't like our ancestors just woke up and had a fully formed language. No. They had to first realize they existed. They have to snap out of nature, kind of snap out of whatever they have been doing for millions and millions and millions of years and realize that, oh, we exist. We are. And this realization is what would what would start this whole journey. So, yes, so it did not begin from fully formed lexical systems, differing only by sound change and vocabulary replacement. This assumption underlies traditional proto-language reconstruction, including Proto-Indo-European, PIE, and Proto-Semitic models. However, increasing evidence from phonetics, morphology, and deep grammatical fossilizations or fossilization suggests that this assumption may be historically misplaced. This paper advances an alternative framework, human speech developed through distinct structural stages, each with its own organizing principles, and modern languages preserve different layers of this developmental sequence. Yes. Language families are therefore not simply branches of a tree, but outcomes of divergent resolutions of earlier speech architectures. Yes. The four-stage model presented here emerges from comparative phonetic analysis, root persistence studies, and the observation that certain grammatical elements behave unlike ordinary words, resisting lexicalization and semantic drift. Yes. Okay. So my whole model rests on 5 methodological premises. Okay. 1, people precede language. Right. Logical. Very simple. So people precede languages. 1. 2, structure precedes lexicon. Yes. So we need to have a use of word, experience of using, not words, sorry. We have to have the experience of using sound in a way that is related to build that whole foundation through which words would grow. Or, yeah, to give us that foundation so that we could build words, actually construct new words to pertain to an idea. So that we have to have a base before making words. We couldn't just make words like that is not that is missing that whole developmental stage. It's kind of breaking it up in pieces and then projecting that as being what happened when that was not what happened. What happened was that this was a very long process. It took a very, very, very long time to just get to where we are now. And any scientist could easily show you that we have existed for so long, remember, and our written form, our mastering of language itself has only existed now for 10,000 years, and not even 10,000 years. Well, writing, yes, but that began where civilization was, and then later spread to other people. Yes. So what we're seeing is that we're seeing, so structure precedes lexicon. 3, grammar preserves deeper history than vocabulary. Yes, this is very important. Grammar is very, very important because grammar will show us how we understand something. This is very difficult to grasp. Like if you haven't studied grammar, like various forms of grammars that exist out there, which is very tough. It's very dense knowledge. It's very difficult to grasp it if you don't really have really a great deal of experience with experiences with languages. Yes. And then 4th, morphological change is directional and irreversible, meaning that we can go from the beginning out, but never from the out in. Because that now the words have increased a bit. Now there are so many words that getting to the roots would mean that we need to reduce quite a lot of words to get to the only most essential things that is required for our existence, like food, water, mom, dad. Yeah, because we all have a mom and a dad, right? So we all came from a mom and a dad. So in the beginning, very, very far back, we all shared. Yes, we all shared a mom and a dad. It sounds almost religious now, but it's not. It's really not. We did. I'm not presenting religion to you. This is just science. We're genetically 50% a banana. We're genetically a pineapple. But genetically, me and my plant, we're related just very far back in time. This is not hocus pocus. And neither is it religion. Okay. So language family. I love my religious brothers and sisters. I love everybody out there. I'm not judging anyone. Okay. We all are where we are now. But the point is that this development can be traced. And that is what my work has done, which is kind of what we will be doing now and henceforth. I will demonstrate to you what has happened. But I can't do that before showing you how I got there. Yeah. So language families represent solutions, not origins. Indeed, Indo-European and Semitic systems are outcomes of different morphological strategies applied to a shared ancestral material. Yes, it's that simple, really. Yeah. So, and then I have published this. But this is now, well, so stage 1, vowel-based speech. I've already said it. So I've already pretty much given you the whole idea here. Okay, I've pretty much given you all the 4 steps. Vowels, 1 consonants, and then this 1 consonant will spread into 2 groups, which will become the concatenative and the triliteral templatic group system we see now in Arabic and Hebrew and all the Semitic languages. But the Chinese ones, the Mandarin, they are still the 1 consonant, a single consonant, so they're still in the 2nd stage, but they have developed further. Yes, but they had to develop using concatenation as well. Every language now had to use concatenation to be able to grasp, to distinguish that idea that they wanted to convey, meaning that it's not. If I don't use concatenation, then I can't really distinguish things that easily. I can't pinpoint those details. And if I can't pinpoint those details, I can't communicate that to you. So if I can't communicate that to you, then we're left not knowing anything. Like, we can probably see it, but we can't communicate that. It will be like, me wanting someone to bring me my glass of water, and I just say, go get it. And they're like, what? Get what? That glass of water. That glass of water, right? So we needed concatenation to distinguish ideas from each other because things are separate. But not all languages did that. Some became tonal, like Chinese, like Mandarin. Mandarin became tonal. But then later it had to adopt concatenation from the Japanese languages. And that's how it went. Whilst the Amerindian languages, I have a whole video, in fact, of all the different grammars that exist and what they pertain to in terms of the psyche, in terms of how they conceptualize something, in terms of how they understand something, and whether they can distinguish it or not, whether they can go into the finer details of things, or whether things are general or all-encompassing, as in, oh, it's God, or it's divine, or, for instance, as there is no word for my Venus trap, not my Venus trap, but I don't remember the name now, but this plant over here. My Venus trap is somewhere else. But the point is that, see, now I don't know. See, this is perfect. Now I don't know the name of this, so I can't communicate it. I have to actually bring it and show it to you because I don't have a name for it. I can say nature or plant, but then what would that mean to you? Because there are so many. So that's perfect that I forgot it, right? Now we got that. Problem solved. Okay. Okay. So we'll go next. So these are the linguistic consequences of this development, right? We have no words first, no words, no grammar, no morphology, only vocal gesture with situational meanings. Yes. And then we get to, things exist. Things exist now. And then And then we will begin using consonants to describe these things that we are now realizing as existing. Okay. So roots consist of one consonant plus variable vowel. Sorry, I'm laughing so much because this is so funny. This is so simple. This is like ridiculously simple, right? Because we're going so back in time, and it's like we can see today, like even this whole development is replicated in a baby. A baby is like wah, wah, and then you come and bring it something, right? And then then later they're like, oh, pa, ma, ooh, and then suddenly things are becoming clearer, more distinct. And then they learn a full word, but they don't know still the meaning of that. That has to also be learned, and that comes later, right? So it is truly very simple. Okay. And that is where this now is. Now we're learning about the world. Roots consist of one consonant plus variable, yes. Phonetic units encode abstract functions, not objects, yes. Meaning is distributed, not lexicalized. Lexicalized. Okay. So as you noticed, English is not my first language. Okay. But I'm doing my best, so don't judge me. These roots function as operators, encoding core cognitive distinctions such as existence, force, boundary, emergence, elevation. Yes. Structural properties, high phonetic transparency, minimal morphology, reuse of the same root across multiple contexts, absence of fixed word boundaries. Yes, speech is still root-based, not word-based. That means, what is the difference between a root-based and word-based, like, right? So a word is like syntactical, syntactic. It has more consonants, whilst the root-based system is ma, pa, fa, da, ka, la. So these are the roots, the shortest unit of sound with a consonant. Okay. And that is the Afroasiatic evidence. Early Afroasiatic systems, including ancient Egypt, preserve strong traces of this stage, suggesting that single consonants roots preceded later templatic expansions. Yes. And then we have the concatenative morphology. This is now Indo-European. The word becomes central. In concatenative stage, yes, roots are chained linearly. Okay. Prefixes and suffixes attached sequentially. Sequentially, yeah, sorry, I'm drying up like crazy. Word boundary stabilize, yes. Syntax overtake prosody as the primary organizer. Yes. So this now becomes more important. Syntax becomes more important. This marks the birth of languages as bounded systems. Yes. Yes, and that is kind of where Indo-European comes in. So Indo-European languages resolve the ancestral root system through concatenation. So they start differing now from Africa. So from Africa, we now begin to use these roots differently. We mix them together. We put them together instead of, and then we bend them. Put them together, bend, but we also then will mix them so that if something has water and food, we'll put them together to pertain to that thing. Or if oh, okay, yeah, I can't really come on an example right now. Let me think of one. Maybe I can. Maybe I can. Mm, yes, pronoun I, right? So we're now they're now two different words, but phonetically they're the same. So now we see that we use the root I as also the pronoun I. Yeah, we did that. Or that if the pronoun was I, then we created a new word for I, and that these two would now represent two different words, but that they originated from the same root. Yes. And then we can, well, Yes. That is exactly what happened. But that is now in deep time. Remember that. Remember that it is in deep time. So, but that is how we now go away from. We step away from the root-based system. Another root-based system that I can use is, in fact, from the other previous video that I made in terms of sound. Sound, zaza, sasa, say. Say. In Norse, this is sa, to say, but we also have sung, sing, sang. Same in German, same in English, meaning that this root sound, which means to say, but this actually, if you go further back in older Indo-European languages like Albanian, for instance, say za, zaza, sasa. So za became sa, and sa would later become sang, sing. So now we can see that there are words in the Indo-European group that use roots, okay, and that these roots are old. These words, that is, these words are old, older than very many other newer concatenated words that we created during our scientific development that only happened now, recently, like 200-300 years ago. Well, yes, at least, well, it didn't happen now. I mean, obviously, it began with the Greeks and then with the Latins, but then it continued on in the German-speaking people and the English people who further developed this. Yes, but it's meaning that the sound, sasa, soso, sonson, sonson, the Latin son, sonus, and the root so is found as everywhere pretty much, and this would become the sang. So from sound to say to speak. So now we have that demonstrated, how one group can go from one consonantal root to now becoming concatenative. Yeah, but within that language, thankfully, they still have that root, that word that has that root development. Yes, so my German brothers and sisters, my English brothers and sisters, my Scandinavian brothers and sisters, we share this development, and it is still found in our vocabularies. Hey! So yes. Okay. Yes, so Indo-European languages resolve the ancestral root system through concatenation. Concatenation is pretty much compartmentalization, right? Compartmentalization. That means concatenation means to separate things. Separate things, create new words. So this now, glass means glass, plant means plant. It doesn't has a root. It doesn't have a root anymore, right? We're not using the root to pertain to that thing anymore. Now we're creating a new word, but that new word originated from a root just a very long time back. And that is how languages with time became distinct and unintelligible to each other. So roots must function as lexical items. Grammatical meanings shift to inflection. Operators without lexical payload are eliminated. Yes, Greek represents a critical crystallization point in this transition, where earlier root-based operators collapse phonologically or morphologically. Yes. Latin completes the process by fully stabilizing concatenative grammar. So yes. And structural consequences: increased vocabulary, reduced phonetic flexibility, loss of pre-lexical operators, and emergence of fully abstract syntax. And this is where now my linguistic brothers and sisters will fall off, or not fall off, but that they can attack me from that point where now this is so clear. So it's very simple for them to do the comparative analysis of words that are fully crystallized and see the relatedness. But when words weren't so crystallized, that is where they can't trace this. But that is where my work comes in. And then we have the stage 5 here, the triliteral templatic root system, or 4. I don't remember these root Latin numbers. 4 was it? Sorry. Yes, 4. I have written this. I made this. I formalized this idea, but I've obviously had a lot of help from ChatGPT. Otherwise, this would take me forever. had ChatGPT write pretty much most of it. I've just given it my idea. But what it doesn't really matter if my idea can solve it. So rather than adopting concatenation, Semitic languages resolve the same ancestral root material through templatic expansion. Single consonant and biconsonantal roots are stabilized into triliteral skeletons. Vowels encode grammatical information. Roots remain abstract and non-lexical. This system preserves root logic while increasing expressive capacity. Yes. So just to add a little comment there. So because some of you might think, oh, but now ChatGPT has actually done this. Well, it hasn't, because ChatGPT does not know this development. It really doesn't, because I had to explain it to it very, very, very many times, and all the different nuances that are found in languages for it to snap. Pretty much, I've overloaded ChatGPT. Like, I don't know if any of you have been able to overload ChatGPT, but I have. So I have crashed ChatGPT sometimes now, but I didn't know that it was even possible, really. So I have to start like new chats all the time, like just after a short amount of time, I have to start new chats because it is overloading. So I'm probably the one in Norway who is using the most electricity to discover this. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because we need this answer, right? We need to know what happened to us, what happened to mankind, what happened to us. You know, we traveled a long time on this earth, so we should know now. It's about time that we understood why we became the way we did. Yeah. But okay, so I think that I will leave it here. You can, I can just read the conclusion. So human speech did not emerge as a fully formed language, but as a sequence of increasingly structured systems. From vowel-based vocalization to abstract root operators, from concatenative word formation to templatic grammar, each stage represents a response to growing cognitive and social and communicative demands. So Greek and Latin mark civilizational crystallization of language, not its birth. Afroasiatic templatic systems represent an alternative resolution of the same ancestral material. The persistence of ancient phonetic roots across families reflects inheritance prior to divergence, not borrowing or coincidences. The fourth stage, yeah, and the reason I'm emphasizing coincidence is because that is where now modern linguists will argue, oh, it's a coincidence, it's random. Well, some things are random now, but not all, not all. The four-stage model offers a unified explanation for deep linguistic fossils, root persistence, and the uneven distribution of grammatical operators across the world's languages. It reframes the question of language origins from which language came first to which structural problem did humans solve and in what order. So thank you. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for listening. Thank you for joining this journey. As I said in the previous one, it's a journey of a lifetime. And I'm honored, privileged, and blessed to do this work and share it with you. I truly am. So thank you for listening, and have a good day or evening, wherever you are. Cheers and bye.